I'm getting towards the swamp here. There's a bedding area just in front of me here. I was kind of looking for an area where everything kind of comes together so I get some trail cam pics and see what lives out here. In spring scouting, I found some sign of an obviously mature buck back here. And I don't know what he is. I don't know how big he is or whatever, and I'd like to know. I'd like to see what's back here. So I was gonna put a camera in a high traffic area. Coming back here, the sign is really picking up as I'm getting closer. But I'm noticing most of it is dry land sign near the swamp. Like if you look here, there's a pretty big bed right here. There's another big bed over there. And both of them with that obstacle, you know, to the way the wind's been blowing. And, you know, that'd make a guy want to sit up here. There's a trail just back here that was just torn up. And I mean, if you set up on it right now, you'd probably see these bucks. Or if I put a camera over to right now, probably see these bucks. But certainly not where I would hunt them, because this is summertime sign. You know, right around September, they're going to start dropping into these cattails. They're going to start to hard antler, almost means like hard brain. They're going to start getting smart, and they're going to get back into the swamp where I scouted them in spring. And this sign is just kind of summer sign. You know, just to throw other people off and for me and you to ignore. Not totally ignore. You know, it tells us they're around, but they're going to be further in when it's time to hunt them. You kind of see the shape of the back there with the obstacle to the back. And then there's another one on this heavy trail right here. Shape of the back to the obstacle to the back. Sitting here with the wind blowing through like this. Watching human access. Swamp escape. One of the main ingredients when you have any kind of bed in any time of the year is that they have good escape. These beds are set up for vision, which is kind of funny because these bucks are normally way back in the swamp. So it tells you that they can revert. They can be where they're all sound-based bedding, you know, back in the thick, and then turn around and this time of the year come out here and bed here with the wind to back, watching an axis. So my two hunting spots here are right there and right there. And in both spots, those deer come up onto this land and move through. I wouldn't hunt back here because this is too open, too wide open. I don't know, maybe you get daylight movement here, but the spots and the points really condense the movement, really get you to see everything, have good shooting. In here, you'd have this one trail. There's, you know, more trails that go through there, more trails that go around that way. But this area here is a beat trail coming from that stand and from this stand and meeting right here. And I figured this would be a good spot for the trail camera. I got a Moultrie cell cam right there, and I like the Moultries because Moultries, you don't need a card, and when I fill that thing up with batteries, it lasts over a year. So I'm not huge on trail cameras, but putting them back a little ways, just finding out what's out here. You know, if there's a shooter in this area, I should get a picture of it and know it. I don't have to have the camera in a kill spot. My scouting from spring and from fall, from map scouting, from what I see hunting, will kill the deer. The camera's just going to tell me if he's here or not, and what size he is. Now, I'm pretty sure that deer is here based on the sign last year, but it is possible he got shot during gun season. But there was obviously a mature buck just living here last year. And we just found some mature buck beds over here. I mean, the size of those beds, the length of them, and the impact into the ground from the weight of the deer, pretty obvious that it was a good deer. And those beds were right here, 20, 25 yards that way. My camera's not hitting them or the trail. Well, one of the trails goes past here, but the main trail over there goes like that, so I won't hit that trail. But I would say eventually those deer will come through over here as well. I only need one camera on this property just to tell me if the deer is here. Don't need to flood the area with cameras. Just need to know that a deer I'd like to shoot is on this property. One thing I'm paying attention to coming back here is on this trail here. There's crushed vegetation. As you see, there's a broken plant. I saw a little more of that back there. Yeah, look at here. You can see where somebody stepped down. More broken vegetation. Somebody's been walking back here. So it doesn't look like a lot, but they came back here. And really, with all these bugs and stuff and what's going on back here, there's only one reason you'd be back here, I think. You know, 99% of the people that would come back here at this time of the year would be setting trail cams. So there's other people with the same idea. Don't know where they're at, but there's somewhere back here. So just knowing that there's more pressure, I mean, that just pushes me even more to be tucked into those tight spots, because those deer are going to be aware. And I mean, really, I mean, look at this. Obviously somebody walked through here. And that's the only thing I can think is they're either setting trail cams or scouting. And either way, they're already putting pressure on those deer. Those summer patterns are going to start changing as we get up to the few weeks before hunting season. A lot of people are like, oh, I got that first week when they're not pressured. They're pressured before season even begins on public. So that's not really even true. So those deer might have been bedding up on high ground recently, and may even a little longer, but that is not going to be happening when hunting season opens. Gotta get in those tight spots. Gotta get up close. And if you could shoot them in those open areas, these guys putting all this pressure on already would have. Those deer wouldn't exist. They wouldn't have got to the age that they are by walking into those spots when there's hunters there. Period. This area here is just thick swamp with one or two trees you can hunt out of. And nobody really even looks at this. It's even hard to get a car off the side of the road. But right on the other side of the road, I'm looking for corn. When there's corn here, these deer cross this road right at the edge of darkness. And then those one or two trees out here can be pretty good. Driving around right now, looking at the outskirts of the public properties, checking what the crops are, because that's going to make a big difference on where these deer bed and where they're feeding and living. And like this one here, I'm right up against the public property here, and it's wheat. And wheat is not going to do much for me for bedding right here. So this spot, that makes a big difference. I don't have to waste a hunt over here early season. The good old Arxis boots are about this much higher than the regular boots, like the Muck brand boots and stuff. But despite that, when it gets to be near waist deep, you're gonna get wet anyways. That's all there is to it. Usually they save me. Usually the water doesn't go that deep, but it's pretty deep in here. I'm not even halfway. I think I'm gonna get pretty soaked. If you step where the grass has roots underneath it. It'll hold you up. The greener grass here doesn't, whoa, there's no bottom there. Don't step there. This greener grass doesn't seem to have that root system. Yeah, this is just straight down into nothingness. I don't know if I can get across this, and that's wide open over there. Getting there slowly but surely. Water's getting deep. Sometimes the Arxis boots aren't even tall enough. It's deeper than it looks. And it's starting to get deeper. Onward. This is all muck too. See that floating muck? Just go right up that trail. Deer here. Whew. What we don't do for deer, eh? They call this a sport. What is this, a touchdown? Seem to be coming uphill now, so I think I'm getting towards dry land here. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think I'll have this area to myself? Do you think other hunters will be back here? Honestly, you never know. But I think there's a good chance I get this to myself. Hell, the deer might not even want to come back here. I really doubt we're going to see other hunters back here. Oh, that's a pretty nice 8-pointer, huh? I snuck right up on him. Good to know there's at least one in here that's halfway decent. He's still got some growing to do. I got within bow range of him. I don't know, I think it was about 20 yards. I just completely stood up and held the camera on him so I could get some film. But literally, I could have probably even got another 5 yards closer. If I was hunting, I could have killed it. He just disappeared 2 bounds and all of a sudden I don't hear or see nothing. Should have heated that up and put it in a coffee cup. Looked pretty good. God, it stinks. Beast boot dump, BBD. That's 2 more pairs of socks that are going in the garbage. I just got to another property and I'm racing back to, I wanted to drop a trail cam back here and see if there's anything that has potential back here. And I ran into something interesting. I thought you guys would enjoy this. Little sign here, right where you hike in here. It says waterfowl trapping and banding effort. Has a trail cam watching it. Says something about, you know, don't bother their traps or anything. I don't see any traps, but the camera that they have is over the top of a bait pile, corn pile here. And some deer ran off when I got here. So your DNR money, your and my money, is paying for a corn pile that has a camera over it. Isn't that interesting? You can't make this shit up, you know? So basically, our money paid for that bait pile, that corn pile. So every one of us is in violation of the law because we all paid to have that corn put there. You know, my daddy always taught me to act in a way and to treat others in a way that you want them to be. They tell us we ain't supposed to put corn piles out here. They shouldn't be putting corn piles out here. Just my 2 cents. The reason they say hunters can't hunt over corn in this area of Wisconsin is because it causes CWD. So it is completely banned to have any type of feeder. Even in your yard, you can't feed any animals with piles of corn or they will give you a ticket. But yet they're doing it. Unbelievable. Recognize this plant? We call that goose foot because the leaf looks like a goose foot. It's good stuff. It's like a replacement for spinach. I munch it all the time out here. I came out here to see if there's acorns. If these white oaks are dropping. The savanna here on acorn years has really had some big bucks show up in here. So I want to see if there's anything going on with the acorns. Got some low branches here, and I can see the acorns are rocking in there. Looks like it's going to be a good year. Every time these particular ones are dropping, this is a good spot. The last time was an acorn year. I got in here a little too late, and it was all scrapes, rubs, and the small saplings that are in the grass, and heavy beet trails coming in here. Doesn't mean I'd kill them right here. I'd kill them back where they bed, but they're going to hole up in the bedding areas near here because of those acorns. This is the trail that's leading out to the acorns and crops before it splits off. Man, is it massive. And right there, a heavy trail comes in from that way, a heavy trail comes in from that way. One comes in over there, crosses over there, and everything kind of meets right there. There's a nice little tree over there. I was eyeing this up last year, but I didn't really want to bust anything out of this area. I jumped a really big buck about 100 yards that way. And I kind of wanted to check this area, and I think this could be a kill spot. I could see some old rubs. There's one on that tree. There's one on that tree. There's one on that tree. And there's little trails in here everywhere. And I noticed just thickens into bedding patches in here. I don't know exactly where, but I know I jumped that buck right over there. But there's some nice box elder trees over here that I think I could get a stand in. I'm going to go take a look at them once. And maybe mark a trail coming in here with the onyx. Some of the tracks on this trail are pretty big too. I don't know if you can make that out in these shadows, but there's some pretty big honking tracks on there. Just try and get across that and not leave too much scent. Let's take a look at that tree over here. I mean, you look at this, this is all churned up with tracks and fresh ones, even where you're not on a trail. You make out trails everywhere in here. That just happens to be just a highway there. But look, I mean, even from this view, more ancient rubs in here. I think we might be onto something. I don't see no hunter sign in here much either. Now look at this, there's trails going in every direction. But right in this opening is where everything meets, and there's a nice tree right here. And that's only a 15-yard shot. I think this is my tree right here. Kind of a crazy looking tree, but I could possibly get back there and make it a 20-25 yard shot and have a little more cover. I guess I'll come in here and decide that when I get in here. So I broke off the dead branches that were right here where I can access the tree. And I get to stand right up in there, and I'll have a good shot right toward the intersection where all those trails meet right over there. And anything that comes over here from those side trails, there's a nice little hole right through here. I just gotta watch how high I get. But this will cover everything. I was looking at that tree too, but then I lose that stuff. And I think that little extra, I mean, there's a lot of tracks over there, is a benefit. Now it's just a matter of if it ain't too close to season, if I screwed this up at all, but I think they'll still be in here. Coming back here, I ran into a trail camera back here, and I think people will be walking around, and as long as I stay out of here from here on out until it's kill time, I think we're okay. I like this. So now I'll turn on my tracker from here and track myself back out so I get right to this point and not beyond, because everything in here looks exactly the same. So I want to make sure I get right to this spot, because if I cross that trail over there, probably screw this up. But literally, if those deer are going back and forth over there and over here, and I go out this way through that crap, I don't think there's any of those deer are going to smell that I've even been here. So I could get possibly a few hunts out of here without boogering up the area. Not a bad spot. Probably did some damage today though. I wanted to show you this. Walking through the woods and I see up in the distance, I see some blaze orange. And I'm like, what the hell? And it's like a splash of it. So I start heading over there and this is what I find. Some mushrooms that are blaze orange and glowing orange. Look at this. Isn't that weird? Look at that. Blaze orange mushrooms. I don't think I've seen that before. Crazy. I could see that all the way across the woods. I wonder how those shrooms would taste. Cooked in a little butter, a little onion. Yum, 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 yum. Probably get quite the buzz before you died.